There was an old man who worked on the railroad, polishing the tracks until they gleamed. For 50 years, his entire life had been spent along that stretch of rail. He hadn't even seen his family once in all that time. He didn't know when his work would end, nor whether the railroad would ever actually be completed. After hearing this, the boy told him about a country he'd seen on his travels. It was a highly advanced place, where people didn't need to work yet still got paid. And yet, everyone was still busy going to their jobs. Curious, the boy asked one of the men there why. The man told him they worked just to feel pressure, because they believed that a person shouldn't live life idly. You had to do something, even if it meant nothing. The old man scoffed, saying those people must be crazy. When Kino asked him how long he planned to keep working, he couldn't give an answer, maybe until the company told him to stop, or until the railroad finally reached its end. Then he turned the question back to the boy. Where was his destination? But the boy didn't know either. He continued walking along the tracks. Before long, he found that the rails ahead were missing, torn up by another old man. That man had joined the company at 16, and for 50 years he'd never stopped working, just to support his younger brothers. The boy told him the same story about that strange country. The man said that if it were him, he'd never take such meaningless work. The boy pointed out that the railroad had been abandoned for years. Why was it still so clean? The man simply replied that keeping it clean made it easier to dismantle. As they parted ways, he too asked the boy where his journey would end. Later, the boy met a third old man laying down new tracks. He'd started working at 15, and 50 years later, he was still at it, all to take care of his paralyzed mother. The supplies never seemed to run out, and the tracks stretched endlessly ahead. After hearing the boy's story, he didn't say much, just smiled, kept working, and asked the same question as the others. This time, the boy didn't tell the story again. He didn't want to shake their faith. Even a job that seems meaningless can hold purpose if it gives someone pride. Just like the boy's own journey, he didn't know where it would end, but as long as he kept following the tracks, he believed he'd eventually find his own direction.